There's a film that influenced you, and maybe not curiously enough, but it also had an impact on Pavarotti, Domingo, and Carreras. And that was Mario Lanza in The Great Caruso. Can you remember when you saw it, and how old you were, and what impact it did have on you?
I remember vividly exactly how it happened. I was, as I say, listening to the Beatles and to even heavy metal, Metallica at the time, AC/DC. I was, Deep Purple, Nirvana, Bing Crosby, Elvis. My musical tastes were spread all over. But at the time it was going through a particular heavy metal, rock, heavy music. Ozzy Osbourne, and that kind of music. And my uncle said, "I'm fed up of you and your devil music," as he used to call it. I have found this old movie.
This is when you were about 13?
13, yeah, 12, 13, something like that. I think 13. And it was a VHS cassette at the time. This was before, of course, the DVD. And he pushed it in the VCR, and this very handsome man came on the screen. And the first singing he does in the movie is not... he doesn't sing opera or arias. He vocalizes, because he's carrying sacks of grain, of flour, in the pizza restaurant, in the Italian trattoria, whatever it is. And they ask him, there are singers from the Metropolitan, would you sing for them? I said, too much flour in the throat, and then they give him wine, and he starts singing, and he does, I think an arpeggio, and then more wine, and he goes even higher. So I immediately said, A, this is amazing voice. B, wine equals great singing. So a few years later, but months later, and this is not for TV. This is true. I went to my mother, and at the age of 14, this was a year later. I was 6 foot, so looked much older. Could have passed easily for an 18-year-old. So I went to my mom. I said, "Mom, I have choir practice today." I had joined an opera choir at the time, and I need wine. She said, "You're 14, I'm not gonna give you wine." I said, "Mom, Mario Lanza, great Caruso. Do you know better than Mario Lanza, than Enrico Caruso?" She said, "Okay, you can have some in a small plastic bottle." Can you imagine the ramifications and consequences that would have in our, politically correct, everything has to be perfect day and age. So yes, then when they saw me, swigging Cabernet during practice, people were like, "Young man, do you have a problem or what's going on?" I said, no, wine is not good for the voice. Forget about it. It's good in between shows, maybe, but not. So anyway.
But get back to that. What was it about you chose to say you came from heavy metal to Mario Lanza and the Great Caruso. You've been singing in choirs. It was the Beatles. It was what a normal, active, intelligent, curious boy of your age would be doing. Then Mario Lanza had a real impact on you. Can you develop that for us a bit? Can you remember more about it than just what a singer?
Simple. I was listening to, for example, at the time I mentioned Metallica, Nothing Else Matters. So close, no matter how far, couldn't be much. And then suddenly I was listening to someone going to Si comanu soril tu tiene navucella poco poco ril a pasugliatella. So anyone would agree that the second type of voice is absolutely, it's like comparing a supernova with a measly meteorite. I mean, it's just this is so much fuller, better, more beautiful. And Mario Lanza was gifted with one of the most beautiful voices ever to grace any man's throat in any period. And it had the impact on me. I want to sing like that. Chances had it, the odds, that I had a voice like that. Otherwise, I would have been a very frustrated singer.
It was also around Lanza, because I saw that film as well, it was also around Mario Lanza, an extraordinary glamour. He sort of Hollywood, but also of his own. He was a unique figure. It was the first great film about an opera singer. He burst onto the world scene. As I've said, it's you, it's Pavarotti, it's Domingo, it's Carreras. All of you were knocked sideways by this. So it was his personality as well as his voice? It was his looks as well as his personality as well as his voice?
Part parallel with his voice, because his voice was really extraordinary, and his charisma, which he had in spades. He wasn't particularly, I think, an amazing actor, but the charisma just made up for any kind of shortcomings he had in that department. But the sheer charisma and the sheer beauty of the voice, coupled with the story. In some of the stories, he sort of played himself, so it made it possible for young singers, for us, you know, you mentioned the young Pavarotti, the young Domingo, the young Carreras, and the young me. This is possible. It gave us a possible realization to our dream.
You could start from anywhere, even humping a sack, and you could end up on the world stage.
Exactly. And okay, I came from a very average middle-class family in Malta. I mean, none of my family has been in opera. There was no conservatory in Malta at the time. I mean, to become a major opera singer, international opera singer from Malta, at the time especially. Now today is a bit easier, but at the time, in 1995, 1994, you know, people would send you to the mental asylum. That's not going to happen.